I'm Rebekah Rotstein, and I am the founder of Incorporating Movement and the creator of Pilates for Buff Bones. So first, I'd like to thank Pilates Anytime for inviting me to teach here. I came to Pilates through physical therapy, and it was to rehabilitate from injuries that I'd incurred as a ballet dancer. And I had been seeking assistance through doctors and physical therapists, even getting injections around the country, and nothing helped in the way that Pilates did. So I felt like I had really stumbled upon something. And when I decided that I actually wanted to teach Pilates, I was looking for something a little different from the classical approach that I'd been studying for a number of years, in that I discovered Kelly Kane, who really utilized anatomy in her teaching. And it felt like it just connected everything for me, because it answered the questions that I'd always had. I'd always been very inquisitive and wanting to know why something worked or why we were doing something a specific way. And it suddenly allowed me to bridge my different worlds that I'd been living in the past. So bringing together my world of movement and dance from my years in ballet, along with the scientific side and anatomy side that I had been a part of during college after I had quit dancing, when I was working in the sports medicine department at Smith as a student athletic trainer. So all of a sudden, I had these two worlds combining, and they congealed, and everything really made sense for me. So my work in Pilates, just personally, also allowed me to realize how the site of my injuries was not actually the source of my problems. And that was a huge discovery for me, because what I thought had been the biggest problem for me in my ankles turns out was actually stemming from weakness in my core. And I had no idea, and this was a huge revelation. And to this day, that greatly informs my teaching, because I firmly believe that the site of a problem, whether it's pain or injury, is very likely not to be the actual culprit of it. And what Pilates really does is it brings together all different parts of the body to work as a cohesive unit. So instead of just focusing on my ankles or focusing on my knees, all of a sudden my body was working functionally together as a unit, and everything started improving as a result. So my emphasis and work with movement and Pilates and post-rehabilitation took a turn at one point when I was 28, because I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. And it was very devastating to me at the time. I already had been working with populations of bone loss, and I had been part of the teacher training faculty at the Kane School of Core Integration, teaching special populations specifically. And I already knew the basics of osteoporosis protocol, but this sent me off on an entirely different trajectory to find out as much information as I could, because now it affected me personally. And that path has led me into a whole other realm of promoting bone health, of teaching the public the do's and don'ts of osteoporosis, of teaching the instructor community of exercise professionals how to work with this population, and trying to bring more attention to it as a means of prevention as well. I work with the Office of Women's Health, with the Department of Health and Human Services of the US government, to promote bone health in young girls, because osteoporosis is not something that should be dealt with once women hit menopause. It's really something that is important earlier on as a means of prevention. My goal in teaching is for people to get a better awareness of their body. I want people to be mindful in their movement, not just to move because they're told to move in a certain way, but to really understand the difference and the subtlety, how a simple motion of moving the ribs from here to here can make the greatest difference in the way that you breathe, can improve your digestion perhaps, could alleviate shoulder tension, could even perhaps help you engage your abdominals in a better way for a more aesthetic appeal if that's what you're looking for. I want people to be aware, and I want them to have an appreciation for movement as well as for the gift of movement that we have, and not to take it for granted.